Hi, this is Shay Veronica, and today is a day in history. Angola, War of Independence. They became independent on November 11, but they fought for it. It was a war of independence, okay? So they were being forced to cultivate cotton, and they started an uprising against that. They fought and they started an uprising against forced labor. And while they were fighting against their colonial master, that is Portugal, in Portugal there was a uprising also of sorts. It was a coup. And when that coup that happened in Lisbon affected the whole nation of Portugal, everything got catspraddle and everything became to the colonies that they held, like Angola, and they also held Mozambique and other places in Africa. It just became too much for them to handle, and they released them. Portugal, or the Portuguese, released some of their stronghold in these African countries. But my question is, how did they get there? Portugal is a small little half-dead place. How did they get the power to go all the way into South Africa and demand people do this and do that? Where did they get that gumption? Where did they get that thought in their head? Where did it come from? And what was the firearms and what did they use? Because when you go into a stranger's house, you have to go with might. Where did they get it from that they can subdue a nation that was thousands of square miles bigger than them? Portugal was like is about 35,000 plus square miles. And Angola is 481 plus square miles. Huge! Portugal could sit in Angola thousands of times. So where did these little half-dead countries, even England is small, where did they get the gumption from to go into these vast places? They must have had vast amount of people too. If they in these small countries could amass people to go into these huge places that have interiors, they don't even know what's going on in the interior of some of these places, but yet they can go in and subdue these people and make them slaves. How did that happen? Sometimes you have to think, did they have off-world technology? And the thing about it is that Portugal, they had natural resources. Copper, tin, lithium, they had natural resources. How did they know that Africa, South Africa, Angola had manganese, copper, gold, phosphorate, granite, marble, uranium, quartz, lead, zinc, wolfram, whatever that word is, tin, fluorite, sulfur, feldspar, choline, another word, mica, asphalt, gypsum, and talc? How would they have known that it was going to be worthwhile for them to go and invade a country that is thousands of times bigger than them? How did they know what the population was? How did they know that they can tame a savage? How did they know that they can tame nice people? How did they know that they could have tamed warriors? How did they know what they would have met when they got to Angola, when they got to Mozambique, when they got to certain parts of Africa? What made them so powerful? I think that's where we need to look. We need to look to figure out what made the white man so powerful that when he appeared on the shores of these foreign lands, why did the people submit? So if they have power, and let's say it's off-world, the off-world people did not go to Africa and give them some power too? Why did they not give the Africans some power to repel people who were coming on their shores to enslave them. So it's really interesting to me. For me, it's very interesting. But today is a day in history, and Angola fought for its independence. Okay, so they have a different take on the word independence. It's not as though it was an emancipation act that somebody gave you something because you were so comfortable in slavery. No, it was a comfort in slavery. They were fighting, and then when fighting also started in their colonial masters' area, it weakened them, and it also helped with their struggle on the ground there in Angola. But it is still, they fought the Angolan War of Independence was fought internally, and they got a heads up. They got a little power and a little. It was easier for them to break away from their colonial master, because their colonial master had strife going on in their own nation. So today was a day in history, and this is Shay Veronica.